you frickin' muppet.
Hello out there in internet land. This is episode 9 of the Formula One chat. I'm your host, Phil Lamington. Sitting to my left is a man who... Well, talk to me, Goose. How you going, JB?
Yeah, I'm good. I didn't die ejecting out of my F-14.
And sitting to my right is a man who, honestly, during this Monaco race, at the very start, he had a very happy moment.
Gosh.
I'm talking about my man Longhorn. Back from his assignment last week.
Yeah, feeling much better after my my assignment there.
Yeah, he was on assignment out in the field.
At the field doing the hard yards.
Yeah.
And we've come back with some riveting information. And
AKA COVID feels like shit.
Yeah. Well, this is a first for a while. We're all sounding healthy this week.
No, I've actually got a cold.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. That's why I was making cups of tea, because I'm like, that'll clear everything up.
I'm liking the cups of tea, by the way. This is the first potty I've been involved with the cups of tea. And
yeah,
This was a P&J fucking tradition.
Yeah, I remember
we
talking
started
about it.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I kind of felt like, because like we started off the season in summer.
Yeah, it's starting to get the weather where...
Yeah.
It started to get
Even
the
though
tea
I'm still
drinking
waiting for the fucking Mr. Whippy van to come by.
Yeah, where is that thing?
You said 7 o'clock, it's now
quarter.
8:15.
Oh, look, take it up with him, all right?
Oh, fucking well.
He shows up.
Sternly-
Where were you?
A sternly worded letter to my Member of Parliament. Where's Mr. Whippy? We watch
Anthony
everything.
Albanese.
Yeah.
Where's our damn Mr. Whippy van, you bastard?
I want my sherbet flake cone, you fuck.
ScoMo took him on when he fucked off.
Fat cunt.
No, George Rob, the fuck.
George Christensen. That guy.
Yeah, the member for Manila. He took him with him when he buggered off.
To go see his Asian family.
Yeah.
He's too good for us here. I have to go now. My planet needs me.
Right, so we just sat through the Monaco F1 race for 2022. And I have to say, for the first time in a long time, I enjoyed the Monaco race.
It was probably the most interesting Monaco race we've had out of the last 10 years combined.
Yeah,
If only for the wet weather. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And the constant stops.
Yeah, it was. And the cars obviously could follow each other a bit better.
Yeah.
But still not overtake.
It's just not a thing, is it?
It's just like, if the track was like 2 meters wider, we could probably overtake, but seeing as these cars are 2 meters wide themselves and your flat chat getting 2 Mini Coopers side by side, well, it was never going to happen, was it?
But I mean, the top 4 was separated by what, 2 seconds, 3 seconds?
Yeah, on any other track, that's fucking awesome. On
Yeah.
Monaco, it's fucking tedious.
Yeah.
On Monaco, that's a fucking miracle.
Yeah.
It really is.
Why?
Because like the way the track is, being able to follow another car is just simply a miracle.
That's down to the regulations, I think, the new regs. Working again, like it did in Barcelona. But again, and seeing as this is the last year that Monaco's contract is,
I think they're going to sign a new contract.
I think it was exciting enough to,
I
at
think it
least
works
ask
in the
question.
favour of signing it again. Like, if we had another really processional Monaco from start to finish, might have played in the hands of them not signing again, but having a half interesting one,
Yeah.
But when Martin Brundle interviewed Flavio Brigatore before, on the grid walk,
If you could understand
it was such a great thing to have a grid walk with interesting people again.
It was. Other than that one
I don't
bitch
even know
from
who she
Bridgerton,
was.
who I don't even know or care is, other than her, it was a good grid work.
Particularly
this week.
Paul Dempsey.
Yeah, he was awesome. He actually knew Formula One.
Yeah. But when he interviewed Flavio Brigatore, Flavio, in his broken English, said, because Martin said to him, this might be the last Monaco F1 unless they sign a new contract. Flavio said, give it 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think Flavio knows something that no one else knows.
Yeah. Fair enough. It's hard to displace 50 years of of history.
The
That's like
jewel in the crown. You know?
yeah, that's like trying to fuck off Silverstone. Like that's not going to happen anytime soon.
Is Paul Dempsey American?
Yes.
He sounded so good on that walk. He would be really interesting on the like if they pulled him in as a special guest on the American races, just as a like for the you know what I mean, like something for the Americans to be like, oh look, it's Paul Dempsey.
Yeah,
him actually, because he sounded like he understood Formula One. He got a good voice. He talks very fluently and clean. Like it was.
He races in the Porsche Cup.
Right. There you go.
And Le Mans.
Yeah.
There you
In
go.
the World Endurance Championship, because he was saying to Martin Brundle, I'll see you at Le Mans.
I mean, the 30 seconds I heard of him was better than anything I ever hear from Nico Rosberg. So,
Yeah.
like, pull him in as what Nico Rosberg does for the American races.
He's instantly more entertaining than half of the Sky Sports panel.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he probably seems to have more knowledge about Formula One than fucking Danica Patrick did.
That's true.
Yeah.
Or what was his name? Willie T.
Willie T. Ribs.
Willie Riggs Barbecue.
You keep bringing him up.
I can't remember.
So good you want to slap your mother.
You keep bringing him up, but you keep forgetting that he was a Formula One racer.
No, I'm not forgetting that bit. I just can't remember his bloody name.
He was the first black Formula One driver.
He was.
Yeah, well,
Lewis,
okay.
Sit down.
Don't take that away from Lewis. Don't take that away from
I
Lewis.
need to take it away from Lewis. It's historically accurate.
Yeah, but it's Lewis. It
That's
doesn't have to be historically accurate. It's got to be Lewis Hamilton accurate.
Yes.
Right. So I genuinely enjoyed that race, and I think Longhorn's favourite part of the race was the formation lap.
Oh my bloody god.
We'll get to it.
But we'll get to that. We'll get to that soon. But with the blow by blow on the race, it is JB. So over to you, JB.
All right. Good evening. All right. The 2022 Monaco Grand Prix. Lap 1. Charles Leclerc starts on pole position at his home Grand Prix from Ferrari teammate Carlos Sainz. A short rain shower soaking the grid before lights out. And then there was like a 15-minute delay. The cars roll away behind the safety car on the formation lap on the damp track. But 2 laps behind the safety car, the red flag is shown as a torrential downpour soaks the track. Water flowing in rivers down the side of the track. And then on the formation lap, Nicholas Latifi and Lance Stroll hit the wall on the formation lap, but both are able to continue. This is after we go back green, I think, or back rolling again. Lap 2. The race starts under rolling conditions 45 minutes after the initial start time. Charles Leclerc leading Sainz and Sergio Perez. Lap 3, Lance Stroll and Nicholas Latifi almost hit in the pit lane. Yes, that genuinely fucking happened. Lap 7.
Cue the circus music.
Lap 7, Sebastian Vettel and Yuki Tsunoda take the gamble onto intermediate tyres. Lap 10, Nicholas Latifi runs straight on at Saint-Devote. Saint-Devote?
Saint-Devote.
Saint-Devote.
Saint-Devote, isn't it?
Yeah.
Saint-Devote. Yeah, it's French.
Yeah, it's French for yogurt.
A lap later, his teammate Alex Albon does the same. I just realised how many spelling mistakes was in my write-up. Lap 14.
You're writing in French.
I'm writing in broken fucking English like Fabio Briatore. Lap 14, Pierre Gasly dive bombs Zhou Guan Yu into the hairpin. Lap 15, Pierre Gasly slips onto Daniel Ricciardo into the swimming pool chicane with a brave move. Lap 16, Lewis Hamilton decides on intermediate tyres while Carlos Sainz informs Ferrari he wants to go straight to slick tyres when possible. Lap 17, Sergio Perez goes for inters as well. Lap 18, Esteban Ocon and Lewis Hamilton collide into Saint-Devote. Lap 19, Charles Leclerc pits for intermediate tyres. Max Verstappen following him in for inters as well. Lap 20, Mick Schumacher and Alex Albon gamble on the hard slick tyres, the first drivers to do so. Lap 21, Carlos Sainz pits for hard tyres. Charles Leclerc inadvertently following him in, stuck in a double stack and losing out to his teammate. Lap 22, Sergio Perez stops for hards. Max Verstappen following him in. Perez getting out into the race lead ahead of Carlos Sainz. Max Verstappen slotting in ahead of Charles Leclerc, but possibly crossing the pit exit line. Was that ever clarified? I'm not sure it was.
Yeah, they reviewed it and said there was no further action. And then
it was pretty touch and go.
actually post race, Ferrari launched an appeal against it, and it was nothing was done about it.
Okay, so it was close, but it wasn't deliberate, I don't think.
Well, before you go on, I actually want to clarify. The reason why they ruled against it was because it was a slide due to the track still being wet there.
Yeah, it wasn't deliberately like he was cutting back on the track.
That's why they went no further action on both drivers.
Yep. Lap 24. Carlos Sainz pulls off a miracle save down the front straight after hitting a patch of water on his slick tyres. The rear of his Ferrari stepping out, and he saved the slide. Lap 26. Alexander Albon is given a 5-second time penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage down at the chicane. Lap 27. Kevin Magnussen retires from the race with a water leak or water pressure issues. Meanwhile, Haas teammate Mick Schumacher has a monster shunt at the back chicane, the car ripping in half after bouncing off the Tech Pro barrier. Lap 30, the red flag is flown as the marshals rebuild the Tech Pro barrier. Both Red Bull cars put on fresh medium tyres under the red flag conditions, while Ferrari put heat-cycled hard tyres on their cars. Lap 33, Sergio Perez leads the race away from the rolling start. Esteban Ocon is given a 5-second time penalty for his collision with Lewis Hamilton. Lap 36, the race goes into a countdown with a time-certain finish, plus 1 lap. Zhou Guanyu nearly has a monster crash coming out of the tunnel with a big save. Alex Albon is forced to retire from the race. Lando Norris puts on a set of new medium tyres. This is all during the countdown, so it doesn't have a lap associated to it.
It's a final countdown.
Yes, it was. And then finally, a close battle between the top 4 ensues for the final 10 minutes. But despite the best efforts of Carlos Sainz, Sergio Perez, who had never led a lap of the Monaco Grand Prix before, goes and wins it from Carlos Sainz and Max Verstappen. Pole sitter Charles Leclerc left to rue his day in 4th. Sergio Perez getting driver of the day and possibly fastest lap. I don't know actually who got fastest lap, but
I think he did.
And George Russell came 5th for Mercedes. Lando Norris came 6th for McLaren. Alonso came 7th for Alpine. Lewis Hamilton came 8th in the Mercedes. Valtteri Bottas in the Alfa Romeo came 9th. And Sebastian Vettel came 10th in the Aston Martin, with Ocon racking up 10 seconds worth of penalties.
Was it 10 seconds?
Because he got 5 seconds for his collision with Hamilton.
Yeah.
And 5 seconds for track limits.
Oh,
gaining
wow.
an advantage. Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I thought it was a really great race. This track really benefited, despite the fact there wasn't a hell of a lot of overtaking because of the limits of the tracks. But the cars could still follow each other.
Which I guess brings me to a quick question about this race, considering that, it's in talks to be, re-signed or replaced. What else can we do to make this track more exciting for overtakes? Because it's a great spectacle. It's, we've gone the right direction with the regs for the downforce and to get the cars to follow. But how can we make these cars actually pull off overtakes on this track?
Look,
Make them smaller.
make the cars smaller, but I was actually thinking there is 2 places where I think they could modify the track and give it a bit more overtaking vibe.
Yep.
Coming out of the tunnel, where you've got to brake because they've got that man-made chicane thing.
Yeah.
I think if they push that back a bit more, there might be something there. Like the
Yeah.
man-made part, push it back a bit. The second chicane at the pool. I think if they take a lot, because you've got a brake to go right and then left. That's the one that Schumacher's car got ripped in half.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of empty space there. I think they could move the left turn part of it in more and make it a faster chicane, which would give it a bit more room.
They could almost make it straight, like just a
Yeah.
corner of its own. And then the next heavy braking zone is
Is where you can potentially.
Rascas. What's the second last corner? There's 2 last corners.
Yeah, I think it's...
Rascas.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. so many legendary corners. I know their names, but I don't know where they are on the track.
But I think the main thing they can fix to make that track better is actually the cars and make them, smaller width-wise.
Yeah, but Monaco is the only track on the calendar where we have this problem. Everywhere else, it's fine.
Oh, Azerbaijan.
Yeah, but Azerbaijan's got like the longest fucking straight ever.
Oh, yeah, but when you get into the city part and you get closer to Maiden's Tower,
Yeah.
and it bottlenecks to where it's single file.
Yeah, that fucking uphill chicane.
Yeah, that at Maiden's Tower.
Yeah.
I think that's where the track falls apart.
Yeah.
Just
it can do.
bottlenecks into that, and
Yeah. At least it's not as bad as Monaco, which the whole track.
But the thing is, if you crash at that, they've got to red flag it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
which
I
doesn't
was
bother me.
surprised we haven't seen that too often at Azerbaijan either.
Yeah.
Like when they first announced that track and showed that corner, it's like, oh great, we're going to get a red flag every single fucking Grand Prix, but it doesn't really happen that much.
Yeah. I mean, it is a scary corner, though.
It is a shithouse of a corner.
But, no, most of the accidents seem to happen, like, earlier in the track, like coming out of the second DRS point.
Yeah.
Or on the start-finish straight.
That second turn after the straight, not that turn, the next turn.
Yeah.
There seems to be a fair bit of action in that
Yeah.
corner.
Yeah, well, I mean, but it's still more of an overtaking chance than anything Monaco produces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Monaco, the drivers have enough to concentrate on, though, with trying to get the car around the track.
Yeah.
That things like overtaking would just be like a complete mind explosion. So then a track like this really becomes about the team strategy.
Yeah,
Which-
and you're qualifying.
Which is exactly why Ferrari keep fucking losing. My God. 2018 Ferrari fucking decision-making again.
Yep.
It wasn't great.
Oh, I understand Charles Leclerc being pissed. I mean, God. I haven't seen anything that clumsy in Formula One since, I think, the 2019 or 2018 German F1 with Lewis Hamilton.
I mean, there was the year that Red Bull forgot Daniel Ricciardo's tyres and cost
Yeah.
him the win.
Yeah.
Or the year that Mercedes pit Lewis Hamilton for hard tyres and cost him the win.
Or the year that was the same year they pitted Bottas and they couldn't get the damn tyre off.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a few fuck-ups at Monaco that have cost guys
I
the
mean,
win.
Monaco is the track that shows if your team strategy fucks up, you are fucked.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
Because you can't claw your way back. Once
Yeah.
you drop back, you're stuck in the traffic.
but it was one of the more enjoyable Monaco races that we've had in a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, I think owing to the rain, because I wonder if that race was just a dry race from the start. You probably don't get three pit stops. You only get one,
Yep.
and
You get one pit stop, and you get
I mean, you'd have DRS open the whole time, but that is the most ineffective DRS
it's
straight
not enough. It's
on
like
the entire calendar.
it's like what we talked about when we were watching it, JB, about the year Ricciardo won it. He lost a third of his engine power or whatever
Yeah.
it was, and kept Vettel behind him for half the race.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
it-
this is the track where Daniel Ricciardo literally lost like fucking 50 horsepower.
Yeah.
Because his engine was starting to fucking explode on him for 20 laps and was able to keep, Sebastian Vettel behind him and win the race because that's the sort of track it is.
And I mean, even if in this race, right, those hard tyres on the Ferrari come into their own towards the end. Any other track, Sainz makes that overtake,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and probably wins it. But
Yep.
in Monaco, you can just make your car nice and wide in the right areas and
Yeah.
good luck.
You don't even have to you don't even have to specifically block. You just put a wheel over, the middle of the track and then just have one wheel on the racing line.
Or
and-
more to the point, like you've got to have your car in the right spot going onto the main start-finish straight.
There's only two spots, man. If you parked in the middle at Sandevort and you parked in the middle coming out of the tunnel, you're fucking sweet.
Yeah.
Well, would it help if they put DRS in the tunnel?
Yeah, I've said this. I think DRS should be in the tunnel.
I don't know.
I don't know, Jeff.
Because the same problem is you're coming out and you're stopping as soon as you're out of the tunnel anyway.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Well,
have to
do
stop,
you think
you're going to have to stop earlier?
this is what I said a few weeks ago, and you called me mad, JB, and you're probably still right. But what if they made that DRS and they took that chicane out and made that go straight?
Because
So there's
then-
extra, straight to actually pull off an overtake with the DRS potentially.
because the only corner after that's the swimming pool chicane, and it's almost as flat out as you can take her.
Oh, no, you've got to back.
Yeah, it's to back next.
Yeah, you got to back, and then it goes to the swimming pool chicane.
No one's going to try and move under the inside of the back. That's a fucking.
I tried it in the game.
That's suicidal. Yeah, but there's no consequences in the game.
I don't know. I lost my front wing.
I mean, you're right. It probably is suicidal. Like, I'm just throwing it out there because, like, I don't know what else you can really change. But like,
Exactly.
seen today, there was no attempts. No one could make an overtake there, and we actually seen a couple today because one thing the rain gave us, because so many cars are on different tyres at different times. Different cars were able to pull up on cars and get the speed to overtake. We've seen Gasly make a couple of nice overtakes being on the intermediates while a few were still on the wets.
Yeah, you made the dive down into the corner before the Lowe's hairpin.
And they were really nice overtakes.
And he
but
made that move into back actually under Daniel Ricciardo, I think it was.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So I mean, it's possible, man. I in a dry race scenario, I fucking wouldn't.
Well, what if the chicane at the end of the tunnel, what if it was more like the chicanes at Gold Coast? Yeah, the Gold Coast V8 Supercars track.
They're pretty tight chicanes though.
Yeah, but I mean, they're not as tight as that chicane that comes out
You
of
could
the tunnel.
pull the
though.
corner of the chicane back across the track towards the right some more,
Yeah.
and you could have a much more open chicane.
Yeah,
I think it needs to be definitely more open. It closes up too much on the inside.
I think they need to pull it to the right more and push it back by about a metre.
They could push it back by maybe 10
And that
meters.
way they could... It'll bottleneck, but it won't be such a dramatic stop as it is at the current moment.
And you'll have an extra fucking half a second off the brakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's probably the only part you could.
It's the only
fuck
part I
around.
can really see you working with, because the rest of the track's too set in stone with the built like
Yeah.
it being in the city around it. Like, it's the
Yeah.
only area I can see them actually being able to move something. And as you said, by the pool is the only other area. So maybe in those two chicanes, there's some tweaking they could do to maybe
Oh,
make it a bit better.
maybe-
or they
ma-
could just make it rain every year.
Or they just ask Herman Tilke and see what ideas he can come up with. I mean, he
with
did
his
wonders.
protractor and a compass.
Yeah, I mean, he did wonders with the Miami International Autodrome
International Auto.
and the Mackay International Autodrome.
That was Mackay Engineers there.
Oh, yeah, true.
They don't even know who Tilke is.
Herman Tilke.
No, the engineers wouldn't. No. That's the problem with Monaco. It's been there for 100 years, whatever.
Yeah,
almost.
back when the cars are smaller and, overtaking was
Like the
more of a
first
thing.
Monaco track was what, 1929? It's 2022. Like,
Yeah,
it's
almost
literally
100 years.
almost been 100 years.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do anything with it. It's stuck there.
Yeah.
It's stuck in the past, which is his biggest problem.
Yeah.
It's stuck when cars were fucking tin cans with
But
fucking
realistically, you
horse-
can't lose it, though. You
horse
can't
cover.
lose
No.
it from the calendar.
You definitely
when
could.
it's been here for almost 100 years, like you're saying, like, it's the jewel in the crown. That's what everyone calls it. And I love the scene. I love the podium being right there. I love the scenes of the team photo at the pool
Yeah, it's
after
pretty
the
cool.
race with the winners. Like, I love all that part of this race. I just wish the race could be more interesting.
But the
every
thing
year,
is,
year to year.
outside of the race, it does everything right that Miami did wrong.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, it had celebrities on there who knew shit. As opposed to Miami, who had celebrities on there who couldn't find their ass with two hands and a fucking map.
Which when Martin Brundle walked up to whoever that bitch was that didn't want to talk to him. I think you said this in the Spanish podcast with Barry when he brought this up, if we should take this out in
Yep.
this segment. And I think it's just spot on. Like, if you're not willing to talk to Martin Brundle on the grid, if you're not willing to talk, don't be there. Why are you there?
Yeah.
You should only be there if you've actually got an interest in Formula One or know what you're talking about. Like, why do we care if the chick from Bridgerton's there? Like, why does she get a pass to be on the grid if she doesn't, A, want to be on TV, and B, probably knows absolutely zilch about it? Like, no one cares about the celebrities at the track.
Yeah, we
We only
really
care
don't.
about ex-Formula One drive. Like, we care about celebrities in the Formula One world. No one gives a fuck about Will.i.am. You know, like, if Will.i.am's there, no one cares.
But I mean, like, you
unless
had-
he knew what he was talking about.
You had Kit Harington there, and he was interesting.
Yeah,
Yep.
because he actually was interested in motorsport.
And you had Paul Dempsey. I mean, I agree with you. Put him on the American F1 broadcast.
Yeah, 100%.
And you had the Tottenham boys there too, and even though they're soccer stars, but they were still there to watch the race.
Oh, they
Yeah,
were there to
that-
talk to Nico Rosberg, but
Yeah.
we'll forgive him for that shit.
Nico Rosberg was there to talk to them to stay fucking relevant.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Notice he didn't show up for the rest of the the
Yeah,
broadcast.
thank God.
Yeah, thank God he didn't show up for the podcast.
Yeah, God, we wouldn't have any subscribers if he showed up on this one. Jesus Christ, it'd be as bad as Aldas. Whoops, I said that out loud. Right.
Tea was wonderful,
Shout
by the
out
way,
to
gents.
Aldas.
Oh, fuck him. God. Lewis Hamilton nut bunch. Right. I'm going to move along now.
Oh, but quickly before we do, everyone's driver of the day.
Sergio Perez.
Oh, you know what? As much as I'd love to give it to Perez, I'm going to give it to Fernando Alonso.
Really?
For cock blocking Lewis Hamilton for fucking
Yes.
40
Cock-blocking.
minutes.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
back of
It
the
was
grid.
either him or Ocon.
Oh, no, fuck off with Ocon. Don't even. Why Ocon?
Because he fucking went toe-to-toe with Hamilton.
Oh, yeah.
Well, actually, okay, all right. Driver of the day. I got two drivers that get driver of the day.
Go on.
Fucking Lance Stroll and Nicholas Latifi.
They were going to be my vote, that's for sure. That is for sure.
The back quarter panel of fucking Mick Schumacher's car. That's separated from the rest of Mick Schumacher's car and turned into the world's most expensive fucking wheelbarrow. Those two marshals are pushing like the back of his car like a fucking wheelbarrow back around the
I
barrier.
can take stuff to the dump in this.
That's one expensive ass wheelbarrow.
$1
No,
million wheelbarrow.
I honestly would have given it to Alonso. I think he did, with the gear that he's got, he did a really good job of holding off Lewis Hamilton.
I could nearly give it to George Russell
Yeah.
because once again he's in the top 5.
He hasn't been out all year.
He has not missed the top 5 all year. I think he's the only
Only driver.
driver
Yep.
to not miss the top 5 all year.
Yep.
Mr. Saturday is now Mr. Sunday.
They actually said that this race.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mr. Top 5.
Mr.
Yeah.
Top 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, in the end, I probably have to give it to Perez, but there's a little part of me that wants to give it to Gasly just because he gave us 2 exciting overtakes. The only 2 of the whole
Yeah.
race. You know, like,
He fucking drove the ass off that thing until
he did until...
couldn't.
Yeah,
He
until...
sort of hit the wall.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. For
Yeah.
the first half of the race, until Mick Schumacher's red flag, for me, Gasly was winning it easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, Carlos Sainz had some amazing recovery when the
Yep.
back end.
He's another one. There was some
Yeah.
amazing
Yeah.
recoveries in this race. G.I. Joe did a really good one coming out
mean-
the tunnel.
His team let him down, but Charles Leclerc drove really well. Perez, Verstappen, Sainz, like the top 5 did really well. Norris,
I think Sainz drove better than Leclerc.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
definitely.
And I think Perez drove better than Verstappen. Verstappen, even though he finished on the podium, really wasn't anywhere.
But that's just
Like,
Monaco.
he
You're
was
just
never
there
a-
because that's where you are.
Yeah, he
you
was
know?
never a threat to anyone
No.
once he was settled in.
yeah.
He sort of just sat there and couldn't do anything.
But
Although I think a part of him, maybe it was the maturity of knowing he had the championship lead because he was already ahead of Charles Leclerc on track.
yeah,
I think it also helped him knowing Perez was first
yeah.
in being just calm and about being in third. I think he was happy for Perez and was like, if we can finish like this, I'm happy.
Because you
Hey.
wonder if Charles Leclerc was winning the race and Carlos Sainz was in front of Max Verstappen, you'd see the old Max Verstappen. I reckon he would have chanced his arms sideways down fucking out of the tunnel.
Yeah.
You know, but knowing that, you're right, knowing that Sergio was up there
I think.
and Leclerc was behind him.
And
I think we saw a calculated Max Verstappen.
And Perez, this felt like redemption from last week.
Yeah, it really did.
You know,
It really
he
did. I told
deserved
you
it.
you'd get one back.
Yeah.
Didn't have to wait long.
Yeah.
Does this pull? I might sound silly. Does this pull Perez into somewhat like? Let's say we come out next week and Perez wins again. He's not far off.
We'll get to that a bit later.
You know, does this pull him into?
It does.
Title contention.
Doesn't it?
It does.
You know, because like if
Crofty said it pulls him within 15 points of Verstappen, and
yeah,
Verstappen's still championship leader.
Yeah.
Which means Perez is within a race win of the championship lead.
right, which means next, racetrack we get to where we have like we do at Barcelona, and they say to Perez, what do they say to Perez that time?
It's still Max.
Yeah, it's still Max.
It's still
That's
Max.
what they're gonna say. But what does Perez do? I mean, if you want to wield, I know his job is to be the rear gunner, and he's excellent at it. But if he actually wants to have a go at winning it, he'd have to ignore and go for it, right?
Well, the next race is Azerbaijan, and he won last year's Azerbaijan race.
He did win that.
Courtesy of some exploding Pirelli tyres and
I
some
mean,
brake magic.
What happens as well if Max Verstappen has reliability issues and Perez, all that could, what would we do there if we
Red
go
Bull will
in 3 races time? Perez is in front by 15 points.
Red Bull will play it smart.
Yeah.
You think they'll always still play it for Verstappen to win, even if Perez is in front by 15 points?
No, they'll play it to whatever the championship is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Max might be the better driver, but if Sergio is winning the championship,
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, we all know Max is probably the better driver. That's evident. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if we go 3 races in, there's still plenty of time to finish for Max to cut that back. But do they then have to start favouring Perez, or they still be like, well, if Max Verstappen's over the long haul, is still our better shot?
I think if it came down to that, if Perez is leading the championship, they're going to go until, say, Singapore, and then whoever's winning then gets preference.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let
But
him
until
race.
then, they're going to let them race. They're going to let them duke it out, and not try and play any favourites.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. So moving along, first news story. So there are rumours around that Sebastian Vettel is going to be retiring at the end of the season, and that his replacement at Aston Martin is Mick Schumacher, leaving Haas and going to Aston Martin.
Means he has to get rid of his Ferrari contract.
Means he's not waiting for Carlos Sainz or Charles Leclerc to leave Ferrari
But here's
because
the
it's
thing.
not happening for a
For
while.
me, though, I think that him going from Haas to Aston Martin, it's not a forward step. It's a sideways step.
And it gets him out of the Ferrari system.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that'll leave him in Never Neverland.
It won't. Because he's in the Mercedes system.
Yeah.
And
look,
Lewis
who could retire
Hamilton
in the
is
next couple
fucking
years.
2 years away from retiring.
Yep.
Which means Mick Schumacher and George Russell could be Mercedes pairing in 2 years.
But Williams
Mercedes. German.
is actually the Mercedes B team.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he will be a Mercedes affiliated driver at Aston Martin, won't he?
Yes.
Yes.
And Michael Schumacher drove for Mercedes.
Yes.
Mercedes is German.
It's not out of the realm of possibility,
and
mate.
there's nothing stopping Ferrari from sitting there saying, Carlos Sainz is leaving. Do you want a seat in the Ferrari? I mean, only an idiot would turn down driving for Ferrari.
Well, that's the thing as well. Like, he's in the Ferrari
Family.
right now. But say he left Haas and went to Aston Martin for the next 2 years, which the Ferrari boys are signed up for another 2 years.
Yeah.
So he's got no chance of getting there for 2 years anyway. This doesn't hurt his chance of getting back into Ferrari. They're still going to have the link. If he does really well for Aston Martin and say in 2 years' time they're actually looking to replace, he could still jump to Ferrari.
I still believe the Aston Martin has more upside than the Haas.
It does over the next 2 years.
I think
definitely.
over the next 2 years, the Aston Martin will improve
I think so.
more
too.
than the Haas.
I don't
So
know.
it's a sideways step maybe this year.
I don't know if Aston Martin's going to improve.
Aston Martin has the bigger budget, bigger facility, bigger everything over
But also
Haas.
Aston Martin has Lance Stroll.
That is true.
Man,
That man couldn't
I would-
develop a car any more than he could develop
I
more
would
hair
rather
on his
fight-
eyebrows.
I would rather...
And his son can't even get through a formation lap without hitting the wall.
I'd rather be on the fucking Aston Martin campus than at fucking
I would
in the
stick
back
with-
shed at Maranello.
Yeah,
You can
I'd
have your
stay
whole.
at Haas.
You can have your whole fucking. Your whole. And you have everything at your disposal at Aston Martin. Haas will still be the Ferrari fucking offshoot team.
Yeah.
Like Aston Martin at least can be its own team at whatever point they fucking choose. Well, Haas will be under Ferrari's shadow. So for now, it's a sideways step to Aston Martin. But in 2, 3, 4 years, when Aston Martin have their own wind tunnel, their own facilities, they're building their own components, much like McLaren's about to get their own wind tunnel finally, you know, Aston Martin will have the bigger upside. It will take time, but it will have the bigger upside eventually.
But you know who I think is going to replace Vettel at Aston Martin? And I don't think it's going to be Mick Schumacher. I think it's going to be Pierre Gasly. Because Gasly's going to want out. If he's not replacing Perez at Red Bull
No,
he's going to
no.
want out.
He'll be replacing Ricciardo at McLaren.
Yeah.
Well, that brings up a very interesting point, because then we get to Daniel Ricciardo. And to be frank, I'd like it to be until something is formally announced that he is out. This is the last time I really want to cover this, because this is just becoming like a long-winded joke.
At first,
And
it was
it's
just
hard to talk about because we love Daniel Ricciardo, but
At first, it was like, okay, we'll give him time to get his head around it.
yeah, yeah.
And he didn't. And then it's like, oh, maybe he's not as good, but McLaren's ready to fucking wait it out. Still not getting better, and now Zach Brown publicly fucking says this isn't going as well as we thought or as well as he thought. Now there's smoke, and now there's fire.
He's also said that there's a way of getting out his third year of the contract.
And
This was only speculation, but now it's more than speculation because Zach Brown has said something.
and he said, like, Daniel has not matched our expectations.
That's fucking damning.
Yeah.
Everything before that was our speculation of, okay, he's not, he could be out, what if he's out, what if he's out, what if he's out. Now it's like,
He's out.
he's out.
I mean,
Or
when
he's on the way out.
paid as much as he is, and the boss comes out.
The
and says
boss
that,
has now fucking said it.
Yeah, that's
Like, the NRL terminology for that is full support of the board. When an NRL coach is, like, having a shit year with a shit team, and the CEO comes out and says he has the full support of the board, and 6 weeks later he's sacked.
Yep.
That's Daniel Ricciardo right now
Yeah.
has full support of the fucking board.
Oh, they're actively looking for his replacement.
I mean, that's why they're putting Colton Herta and Pato Award
There
in
wasn't
the car for
there
testing
wasn't a
later on.
peep about any of those guys until this started circulating, and now it's gone from a peep to, well, Colton Herta is going to be jumping in the Pato Award's already done the young driver test. Colton Herta is getting in last year's car for a test run, I think. And I don't know about Pato Award. I don't know if he's doing a free practice. I think he gets an FP1 session this year.
Yeah, because that's part of the young driver.
So does
So it's gone from...
Colton Herta's getting FP1 at Houston, at Coda.
So now it's gone from Daniel Ricciardo, is he going to keep his seat or is he not going to keep his seat, to 4 fucking guys are lining up to take his seat.
And it'll be who jumps out for that?
Pierre Gasly, Pato Award, Colton Herta, and...
Oscar Piastri.
Oscar Piastri, yeah.
Oscar Piastri as well. I didn't even think of him.
Yeah, like his name is thrown in the hat.
Yeah.
He has to, if a seat's going to open up and you're not taking, a Gasly over, Piastri has to be the number one name for any team looking for a driver.
Yeah.
But I think that they keep bringing up Colton Herta and Pato Award.
No.
See, I would take Piastri any day of the week over them two. I don't think they're the right... Like, if you're going to replace... Because Ricciardo come in with his intention of being the number one driver. He's paid as a number one driver. It's not worked out that way at all. Lando Norris is clearly the one, and that's the direction they're going with. But I still don't think, it's the sensible thing to bring in another rookie beside Norris. I think they're better off going another known commodity with experience, in my point of view. At the point where McLaren's at, where they want to be pushing...
I'm
Yeah,
going
I think
after Pierre Gasly, and
Yeah.
if Pierre Gasly says no, I'm going after Oscar Piastri.
100%.
Well, I think Pierre Gasly's going to be the one going after them, going, pick me. You know what I can do. I've been around the block. Pick me.
He should be doing that, but unfortunately, I think Gasly's still blinded to think that he might get into Red Bull.
Oh, look.
He won't. We know that. I'm just saying.
Max Verstappen's
Pierre
world champion
Gasly.
and Sergio Perez just won the Monaco
Yeah.
Grand Prix.
Yeah. It's not happening. I'm not saying that's what I'm thinking. That's what Pierre Gasly's probably thinking.
And Gasly had his crack at Red Bull, and it didn't work. He
Yeah.
got replaced by Albon.
I'll be
Yeah.
honest, man. I don't think Pierre Gasly's thinking like that.
You actually think he's going?
I think he's
nah,
fucking
McLaren.
looking.
Yeah.
I think he's got his eyes on Daniel Ricciardo's seat fucking full on.
I hope he does.
And I think McLaren's looking straight back at him like, if he doesn't fucking pull his finger out, fucking end of the season.
Well,
Pierre Gasly will be Lando Norris's teammate next year.
okay, well, I'm going to float something here, all right? This is all interconnected. I'll float something. Ricciardo gets his contract torn up at McLaren this year. I think Pierre Gasly will get the McLaren seat. But they keep leaning towards Colton Herta for some reason.
For some reason.
He's good at IndyCar, but
it's too big a jump, and I just don't think it's the right call for McLaren right now.
And I think Pato O'Ward's the better fucking driver. Just quietly.
I think that Vettel will retire at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ricciardo's going to take that seat at Aston Martin.
I honestly don't. I'm going to be quite honest. I agree with what you said a couple of weeks ago, Phil. I think Ricciardo's done in Formula One. I think his best shot next is IndyCar.
No.
And the reason I say that is because he's looking like a driver that's past it. Like, he's lost that half a second because he's gotten older. He's not the future of a team. He's meant to be the now. He's shown that he's not that at a top team. So he's not going to get that shot again at another top team. And at the moment, there's just too many good young drivers vying for a seat. Like, you know, if you're Williams, and you got to think of the salary Ricciardo would be demanding as well, compared to an up and coming rookie with more right now, more potential to win you a world championship. Like, you don't have to pay Piastri probably fuck all, and he would probably come on and be a top 10 driver his rookie year, and he's got pedigree of being a world champion. That's done for Ricciardo. Doesn't have that anymore. So why would you know, the way the grid sits at the moment, where will he go? Like, I don't ever think he'll go to Williams. Why pay the money for Ricciardo right now? Is he adding anything to is he Fernando Alonso at Alpine? I don't think he would be for another team.
No. I'll float you two options, and I think you'll take either one of these. Number one, his racing hero, and the reason he has number 3 on his car, is Dale Earnhardt.
You think NASCAR?
I'm thinking NASCAR. Or, number 2, came out in an article probably 2 weeks ago when all this shit started. The CEO of Australian Supercars has come out and said the door is wide open for Daniel Ricciardo to join our series if he wants it. But he'll have to take a pay cut because he's earning about $15 million at McLaren, and the top drivers in supercars only earn about $2 million a year. So if he's willing to take a pay cut, the door's open at Australian Supercars. The CEO wants him. Or he goes to NASCAR and he fucking follows in the footsteps of his idol, Dale Earnhardt Sr.
I can definitely see NASCAR. I think he'll choose the American route. He loves
America.
Yeah. And Americans love him. I can see NASCAR. Yeah,
I can see him doing
see
shoeies
NASCAR.
in victory lane for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I unfortunately think Daniel Ricciardo's done in Formula One, which is sad. Because
It's a fucking shame, but
yeah.
I mean, I was so happy to have the Aussie coming to my team at McLaren. It was a fucking match made in heaven. Proven race winner on a team on the up and up. It's like, fuck yeah, I'm going to have Lando Norris, who's already on the way up. Now, Daniel Ricciardo's going to slot in beside him, and they're going to be fucking the old teaching the new. They're going to be just as good as each other. It's going to be fucking awesome, and then just none of it's eventuated on the Danny Rick side of the fucking garage. It sucks.
Actually, got a question for you, JB. You're a little bit more into the F2 stuff.
Yeah, slightly.
Jack Doohan,
Yeah.
is he part of the Red Bull?
No.
No.
Alpine.
Yeah, he's Alpine Junior as well,
Right.
I believe. Yeah.
He's
Because-
actually racing really well around them. I've been
He's
watching a
starting to
fair
come
bit of
up
Formula
now.
2 this
Yeah.
year.
Because the reason why I bring that up is because if Pierre Gasly leaves AlphaTauri, who goes to AlphaTauri?
They'll either bring Albon in or they'll bring up Deruvula from Formula 2.
I could see them bringing Albon back.
Yeah. I can. They've already come out, I think, and said they've been impressed with Albon at Williams, and they'd potentially bring him back to AlphaTauri. So I think that's probably the one link. I think they hold on to Tsunoda another year. I think he's shown enough this year to keep with him. And if they don't bring in Albon, I think they'll bring up Jehan Deruvla from Formula 2, who's in his third year, and he's actually showing quite a lot of pace and
championship.
He's in the fight. He's gotten
unlucky
in a couple of races, but he's raced really well. I think he'll be.
It's
the one
either
to come
that
up.
or Piastri, because I know Alpine are desperate to get Piastri into a seat.
Yeah.
I think so too, but it just
depends
Red
if
Bull will
Deruvula is ready.
Well, he's driving this year, in my opinion, like he is ready.
Yeah.
That's how he's driving
But
this year.
Deruvilla finding an F1 seat before Oscar Piastri is a fucking crime.
It is. As I mean, like, you should take Piastri over anything, but I just don't see it opening up for AlphaTauri because I think there'll be other teams that will grab him before they get a chance.
I hope so.
I hope so too. I think, yeah. But here's my thing again, which... Does Alpine really let him go? Is it a loan move, or is it a potential have to cut his contract and he goes somewhere else? Because if that's the option, and Alpine makes that choice, I don't understand.
It's a lend.
Has to be a loan. Right.
Yeah.
See, to me, if it's going to be a loan, I don't see him going to AlphaTauri because they would rather bring up their drivers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why I don't
Yeah.
see it being AlphaTauri.
But, I mean, the flip side of the coin is Sergio Perez. He wasn't part of Red Bull. They needed a driver because...
But they got Perez for a reason. Experienced gunner.
Let's be frank here, because the Red Bull Driver Academy seems to snap up anyone who can turn a steering wheel. And then they bring them up to the main team and...
Too quickly.
Like Brendan Hartley. Like he just didn't have a dog in the fight. And he tried really hard, but he just wasn't F1 material.
Yeah.
I also don't think Mark Webber, who's Piastri's manager, would ever let him go to the Red Bull. I don't think he'd let him go to Red
Bull. Pretty
Bull.
bad history.
Yeah.
Although he has at least that connection with Helmut Marko and Christian Horner.
I mean, unless it's straight to the top team, I don't think he'd... I don't know. Which isn't going to happen. To me, I just think like Red Bull set at the top. They don't need to worry about anything. And AlphaTauri is just their B driver academy. That's what they're going to do. They're going to, like I said, I think they'd bring Deruvla up. He's driven well this year in Formula 2, and it's his third year, so it's his last year in Formula 2. So if he's ever going to get a shot, it will be next year.
Yeah.
I potentially see him being the one they bring up because, I think he's driven quite maturely this year and probably deserving of a spot if drivers like Piastri are taken up elsewhere.
Yeah.
But
I think it'll be absolutely what AlphaTauri does because Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen aren't going anywhere for at least the next 2 years.
No. Neither's Ferrari.
Yeah.
McLaren's going to
one's
open
changing.
up and probably take a Gasly.
Yeah. If I was Zach Brown, I'd be on the phone to Gasly.
Aston Martin will open up and probably take Nick Schumacher. So there's a spot at Haas.
I think that'll go to Robert Schwartzman.
Over Piastri. Again, the question comes, say, that's the only spot that opens up.
Because Schwartzman's part of the Ferrari Academy.
Yeah. It's looking like Piastri's going to have to wait for fucking Alonso to retire at this rate.
Yeah, it's either that or Williams.
And Alonso, I think, has signed a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
Or was in discussion.
Fucking sit
He
there
signed
and wait.
another. This is the part I don't understand. Like, I love Alonso and he's driving really good, but he's 43. It's going to catch up at one point. And do they really want to hold on to him when it does catch up and let Piastri go somewhere else and then potentially not be able to bring him back because they held on to Alonso for an extra year?
I think a lot of the cards fall with... Look, I know Hamilton's got a contract for another year, but he's getting frustrated. I think there's still that nagging thought at the back of my brain that he might pull the pin this year.
Yeah, he very well might.
If that happens, that saves Piastri at Alpine because then I believe Ocon goes to Mercedes and Piastri comes into Alpine.
Well, how about
That's what I
this?
think.
If this is something that I haven't thought of until now. What if Hamilton retires and instead of Schumacher going to Aston Martin, if he goes straight to Mercedes?
Yep. Then Piastri can go to Aston Martin.
Yeah.
That's a massive step, but yeah, that could happen.
Well, I mean, look what the Michael did. He drove one race in a Jordan and then went straight into a Benetton.
Yeah.
And
It could happen.
within 2 years of him, or 3 years of him getting a full-time seat at Benetton, was 94 and 95 world champion.
That'd be brilliant.
Only counterpoint I'll say to that is, in my opinion, Mick hasn't been driving well enough this year to warrant that. He has not driven well this year.
Yeah, he's made some errors.
And I know he's still a young driver, but he's driven way better last year than he is this year. And
Yeah, because the car was a bit slower.
Yeah, which is a worry. You know, if he was going to
He
go
didn't
into
have to
another
drive.
faster car,
The only other person he had to overtake was Mazepin.
which he did at Monaco.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the benchmark wasn't really that fucking high. You know. But I mean, I'd like to know how long Kevin Magnussen's contract with Haas is.
1 more year.
Is it?
Yeah, it was 2-year contract. So this year, next year.
Yeah.
And I think, they're not going to move him on. They'll keep him for that contract.
Okay, so the next subject, and I'm kind of going to ask one of you guys to look this up. The current F1 race directors.
The bad guy from Too Fast and Furious.
Eduardo Fuentes and Michael Veach from Fast Forward.
So yes, what are we looking up?
The current F1 race directors.
It's Eduardo Freitas and Niels Wittich.
What do you think of those guys?
I haven't been
Eduardo
a fan.
Freitas, this was his first race in charge, and he fucking pissed me off not starting the race with the rain.
He pissed me off a few times.
Yeah.
I remember saying this to you, Phil, at one point. This was from the Mick Schumacher red flag, I think.
Yeah.
So, first thing that pissed me off a bit was they should have just red flagged that immediately instead of worrying about 3 laps under a safety car. Should have just been red flagged. Surely you could have told, you should have realised you need to reset that tech barrier and what you needed. So, just straight up red flag. I mean, it was a crash worthy of a red flag just off watching it.
Yeah.
Before you even evaluated anything
That
else.
car's in 2 pieces. We should probably stop the race.
Yeah, you know. So that was that part annoyed me. But then the next part was they did a rolling start. And even the commentary team was talking about it, saying in the rule book, every car was on slick tyres. No car was on any wet weather tyre.
Yeah.
And because there was a tiny little puddle they're saying at the end of the pit straight. Sorry, not pit straight, at the end of the straight. We had to do a rolling start. And that annoyed me because why? And they're saying the reason they did it was the FIA felt. So again, this opens up the whole dialect of it's up to the race director's digression, which is why we sacked Michael Massey last year. Right? Isn't that why we sacked him? And this year was, we want it to be more black and white. Well, he then made a call out of his own whatever because he felt maybe it was a little bit wet at a part of the track, so we have to do a rolling start.
Coming from a guy that I think Martin Brundle openly said at the start of the race, is like, it's Eduardo Freitas' first race in charge. He actually doesn't have any F1 experience.
Yeah.
It's so he's operating this like a DTM race.
Yeah, and as they were saying, the only issue would be is it's the reason he didn't do it was it might have been a disadvantage to a couple of cars on the grid. Well, that's how the cookie crumbles. We're halfway through a race.
Yeah.
You know, we're not at the start. We're halfway through. We didn't get the stop start. We didn't get a standing start at the start of the race. Would have been great to see one at that point because we'd gone through the wet. We'd gone through that whole saga. Now would have been a restart.
And I guarantee the prospect of a standing start was the reason the Red Bulls put mediums on.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that was it. It's all right, put the fucking mediums on because there's going to be a standing start.
Yep.
Because that's the protocol.
Yep, 100%.
And Freitas is like, nah.
I just don't think so. Cause
I just think we'll just rolling start because it's like DTM.
It just pissed me off because I was like, we went through that whole saga of Michael Massey and we sacked him because he directed in that manner in a sense and that got him fired. And we brought these guys in to be black and white and now they're doing it.
He got fired because the teams agreed to this, that and the other and he followed his directives, but because Lewis Hamilton and Toto Wolff chucked a fucking nana, he got the boot.
Yeah, 100%.
So then we've brought in 2 other guys who, I'm going to say something, I don't think Ocon deserved the 5-second penalty for causing a collision with Lewis Hamilton.
No, I don't
think he did either.
You know, but because Lewis Hamilton bitched on the radio, then it was done. So you've got 2 more race directors that sit there and go, well, we've got to appease Lewis Hamilton. The faster Lewis Hamilton gets out of this fucking sport, the happier I'll be. But, I mean, these two guys, like...
I'm not impressed so far.
3 laps under a safety car, then go, oh, it's a red flag. Should have just red flagged it. You could see the Tech Pro barrier was fucked. Right? Red flag the fucking race.
Yeah.
They're... Again, coming back to Lewis Hamilton. Now they've delayed the rules about his piercings yet again.
Oh, really?
That's not the race directors, though. That's the FIA in general.
Yeah, but they're the guys who enforce it.
Yeah.
And they're the
FIA.
ones who came out and said, oh, we'll give him a little bit more time.
It shows how much they bend over to Lewis Hamilton's.
It should be, get the piercings out or get the fuck out.
And
Done.
it should have been black and white. The protocol is standing start because that's why we sacked Michael Massey, because he didn't, quote unquote, do a black and white from the rules. He interpreted, so we brought 2 new guys in who have no idea what they're doing other than to read the rule book and do it black and white, and now they're making their own decisions. Oh, it's a little bit wet over here, so we better not, because it's dangerous. This is dangerous. It's fucking Formula 1, and they're all, in my opinion, if every driver is willing to be on slicks, they're willing to have a standing start. I don't care where there's wet patches on the. If you're willing to go slicks, you're a Formula 1 driver. You're telling me you're taking on the track with your slick tyres to be faster, which is the aim of the race. Like, don't then be like, oh, well, we better still cone off like this section of the. Like, what are we doing? Like,
You're the best race drivers in the world, man. Like, fuck, they can handle some standing water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if they slip out, that's their fault for racing in Formula 1 and going to slick tyres and, hitting whatever. Like, that's part of
But I mean,
racing.
they're still not doing anything about Parc Ferme for red flags. It should be Parc Ferme.
Yeah,
that means
is
Lewis
the
Hamilton
fucking
doesn't
fuck
get a
rule.
new fucking front wing. They don't all get new tyres.
Yeah,
What
I
they
hate
go
that.
in with is what they come out with.
100%.
I don't even agree with Lewis Hamilton changing his helmet. Change his visor? Yeah, no problem. Changing your helmet? No. He started the race with that helmet. He finishes the race with that helmet. I don't give a fuck about his fashion sense. His fashion sense can go fucking jog on 6 foot down the fucking bar. But, and the funny fucked up thing about it is they're sitting there saying, oh, we're sitting there saying they got rid of Michael Massey to bring these 2 guys in. Now Michael Massey is being brought back in as a backup. So we got rid of the guy, and now we're sitting there going, well, if those 2 guys can't do it, or da-da-da-da-da reason, Michael Massey's back.
Can you own the biggest fucking apology in the world?
Yeah, 100%. The FIA right now is the off-track equivalent to Stroll and Latifi on track. That's what they are right now. Cue circus music.
Yeah.
They are Latifi and Stroll on this formation lap at the start of the race.
Slipping off.
If they bring Massey back, that's what they are. Like, are you serious? We went through that whole drama of, Mercedes crying and all the rest of it, and you want to bring him back? I want him back. I'm not complaining because I don't want him back, but I never wanted him gone.
No.
And how can you get rid of him in that manner, then bring him back as a backup? Like,
We
what?
fucking said, like, give him a year
Yeah.
under these new fucking regs that you were supposedly bringing in as to where no one can fucking talk to you. No communications with the race director. Let Michael Massey do his job in fucking peace and see how he goes. And they didn't want it because Toto Wolff called him a fucking liability.
Yeah.
And now he's coming back because the other 2 can't do their fucking job because
they're a liability.
they're fucking more of a liability than the guy that was a supposed liability.
And the funny thing about it is that these 2 guys are causing more issues for Lewis Hamilton because of his piercings and all this shit than Michael Massey did at all. And yet, there's just, it's fucked.
Yeah,
It is. It's
cue circus music, as Longhorn said.
yeah, it is literally
Might
that.
as well put Roland Dane as the FIA race director.
Fuck it, why not?
Because
Wash
then
your
you'll just get
fucking mouth out.
every call will go for Red Bull.
Might as well throw in that chick from Bridgerton as the fucking race director. Why not?
Yeah,
She's allowed on the grid. Like, fuck, why not?
Megan the Stallion, Willie T. Biggs.
He's a race driver.
He can officiate.
Poor Willie T. Biggs, he keeps copping shit. He's actually like a
He's
Formula 1
fucking
race
supposed
driver.
to be. He's not a rapper, you dickhead. Why are
saying-
you grouping a race driver from the 60s and 70s, the first, and I might actually be wrong, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'll stick to my guns in saying he was the first black racing driver.
Pretty sure he is, yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was. But you're grouping him in the same group as Megan the Stallion and
Because he
Bridgerton
seemed like he was as in touch with the product as those two were.
Yeah.
He's been on the wheel of a racing car the same time Fittipaldi and fucking Lauda was.
Yeah, and in that interview...
And he didn't die.
In that interview...
Or burn.
In that interview...
Or die.
In that interview... It was starting to sound like CM Punk and Christian.
And bitching.
Bitching. You know something? Yeah, but I mean, like, he seemed about as in touch with the product as Megan the Stallion and that bitch from Bridgerton.
Yeah, but he's got street cred because he's driven a Formula 1
No,
car.
you know who's got fucking street cred? Alain Prost. You know who's got fucking street cred? Fucking Jean Lacey.
As opposed
Gerhard
to...
Berger.
As opposed to Megan the Stallion and Serena Williams and fucking...
Yeah.
Will I Am.
He knows how to fucking drive a car.
Eric Dyer and
Yeah.
whatever the other guy's
Fucking
name
Paul
was at the time.
Dempsey. Paul Dempsey has got
Get
more
him on.
cred.
Yeah, but Paul Dempsey, again, is a race car driver.
I know that.
Yeah.
And
Stop banging on my boy, Willie T. Reeves. Fuck's sake. I'm defending him. I listened to his episode on...
I think, unfortunately, what happened to Willie T. Ribs is because if you watched Miami, the farcical that was Miami of the product sort of encapsulated Willie T. Ribs in a way. It wasn't his fault. It was the way Miami was.
I'd like to know this. Like, I know Willie T. Ribs, first black Formula 1 driver. Why didn't they have the post-race interview done by Mario Andretti? Because he was there.
Willie T. Ribs was also there.
Yeah, but Mario Andretti is a little bit more in touch with the product. And Mario Andretti is a former world champion. So he has a little bit more credibility. I'm not downplaying, Mr. Barbecue. Because I keep fucking his name up, so I'm just going to call him Mr. Barbecue.
I like that.
But what I'm saying is that Mario Andretti is a former world champion. He's got a little bit more credibility than Mr. Barbecue.
Okay.
I know you disagree with me a little bit on there, which is fair. That's what we're about. We're a conversation. And, after this is over, we're going to go in the front yard and I'm going to knock your fucking teeth in.
Got the fisticuffs in the front yard at this rate.
Well, it never stop you and Shogo.
Look, I agree. Like, yeah, Mario Andretti does have credibility, but Willie T. Ribs isn't an unknown quantity. I mean, maybe he is to the modern day product, but...
Yeah. I'm not trying to downplay him a bit. I'm just saying, like, Mario Andretti is a world champion. It's like if they called up and they got Emerson fucking Fittipaldi.
Yeah.
Fitty fucking.
They could have done everything in Miami better than they did.
Yeah.
But we got it. We've had it. I don't think we'll see Willie T. Ribs again. I'll be honest. Like anywhere.
No.
But for those that know his background,
No,
his
yeah,
relevance as opposed to Instagram models and fucking rappers and pop stars
Here's the thing.
Right.
is more.
Willie T. Ribs would have been a cool interview, but he didn't work quite much as the interviewer. If that makes sense.
That's
if
the
you
point
had
I'm
Mario
making.
Andretti do that part and you had Willie T. Ribs as an interview at one point and you highlighted his importance in, to Formula 1 and all the rest of it, that would have been cool and really good. But I think he didn't quite pull it off and, he was older. Maybe he's having some issues. I'm not sure what it was, but,
he's
you
older
can't
and
bag
he's
him.
having some issues.
Yeah. And, yeah.
Okay. So, we're going to move on from the news, because that's all the news items we've got. It's return of a segment that we haven't seen for a while. Longhorn Speaks.
Oh,
He's got some things to say.
I didn't have one coming into this podcast, but my boy, did I have one. One lap into this frickin' race.
It was the formation lap.
Formation lap. And my freaking God, Nicholas Latifi and Lance Stroll, but we'll start with bloody Latifi. How do you hit the wall In a I know it was wet. We all could see it was freaking wet, mate. But you're under a formation lap.
Because the car didn't turn.
Yeah, and that's what he says on the radio. Oh, I just don't understand. The car didn't turn. Because you didn't turn it, you freaking muppet. Use your hands and steer the car.
Well, to his defence, like he locked up the brakes, and so he couldn't turn the steering wheel because it was just going straight into the wall. Which then begs the question: why are you locking up your brakes on a fucking formation lap?
Exactly, when it's wet.
I mean, look, to be fair, the brake temperatures are usually down on a formation lap.
Yeah, but your IQ isn't.
Why does everyone else
Let's
not go into the wall, JB?
Let's not.
Why does everyone else not go into the
Well,
wall?
that's not entirely true.
Oh.
Because your boy, Sir Lancelot,
Not
also
everyone.
hit the wall.
My other favourite Canadian, as everyone likes to call him, Lance bloody Stroll, is just as bad. Oh, my God. I just...
And then they went into the pits and they nearly hit each other.
Yeah, I know it got better. They just about had an act. I wish they did. That just would have been... Oh, that would have topped off this race. I would have... Oh, my God.
And yet they both managed to finish the race.
Oh, that's the worst part. And Albon didn't. My boy Albon didn't. But he had some issues. But, oh, my God. If this just doesn't scream, get rid of Latifi, Williams. I mean, he has to be gone, right? I mean, how do you... The year he's had, he's not shown anything. And all he's doing is crashing and then throwing his hands up going like, I don't know what happened there.
The car didn't.
Yeah, the car didn't turn. How the
Or, to his defence, Australia was not his fault. That was Lance Stroll driving into him.
It was.
Like a fucking muppet.
It was. The two of them. The fucking pair of them. Keep them away from each other.
Actually, it was Nicholas Latifi chasing Lance Stroll down like an asshole.
I want to see them crash. I want to see them crash at each other and then, like, have a fucking yelling match.
Yeah.
So someone could finally overdub the South Park thing.
Oh, yeah, I just want to see exactly right.
I'm not your buddy guy. I'm not your guy, pal.
Can you imagine if they crashed in the pit lane and then both of them just get out just like this?
With their flip heads.
They take off the helmets. They've got the heads from South Park.
Flip it.
You're not my buddy guy.
I'm not your guy, pal. Not your pal, friend.
or them standing in front of each other going, I respect you, bro. I respect you, bro.
Both of their cars have got square wheels and shit.
Honestly, those two
Are
deserve to
a fucking
drive.
disgrace to Canada.
Canada.
Canada and everything it fucking stands for.
The Kingdom of Canada.
Owen
They are a
Hart.
disgrace.
Owen Hart is rolling in his grave, and he doesn't even watch. He's
dead.
yeah, that's
He's very
right.
dead.
Even
Very,
when
very
he
dead.
was alive, he didn't watch Formula One.
Uh,
But honestly, those two really do deserve cars that were made for the Flintstones.
Yeah, they don't deserve to have cars. Like, honestly, they're just...
They drive like L-platers.
Yeah.
Or Prado drivers at the Mackay International Autodrome.
The worst part is we have to watch Stroll for the next bloody 10 years because Daddy owns Aston Martin and he's got an unlimited contract to become P15. So,
yeah.
and but Latifi, like, I honestly, in my opinion, replace him mid-year. That's how I feel about him at the moment.
Is there one lined up? Like, who's the...
Piastri, just
Yeah,
make
just
it
put
happen.
Piastri.
Just bring Piastri in for the rest of the
Pato
year.
Award.
Oh, bring anyone in at this point. But, like, I don't know. I
volunteer as tribute.
To me, I get it. Like, I get annoyed when you've got a pay driver in a spot who's showing nothing, who's crashing, and you've got really experienced talent not getting a seat. Like, I understand money talks in Formula One, but we need to somehow be harsher on these guys that get in. Like, if you get if you're a paid driver and you don't have talent, it's such a bad look to Formula One, in my opinion. Like, if you've got the talent to back it up, I don't care if Daddy owns the team. Like, if Lance Stroll was World Championship material, own Aston Martin. I don't care.
Yeah.
But when you own Aston Martin and you fucking suck and you're a clown, you act like a clown, you drive like a clown, you have Zero personality. You have the personality of a rubber band.
And he can't see through his eyebrows.
You can't see through his eyebrows or his mirrors, for that part. Like, what are you doing in a sport where the best 20 drivers in the world are?
You know, it's a fucking shame, too, because we've just spent this whole fucking most of this episode talking about how Daniel Ricciardo is going to lose his seat at McLaren. And, like, a driver like Nicholas Latifi just
Gets to be on the grid.
Isn't under threat.
That is the worst part about Formula One.
Apparently, Latifi is going to lose his seat at the end of the season.
Yeah.
They're not keeping him.
Yeah,
Good.
they won't keep him. He is gone at the end of the year. But I think he should be gone halfway through.
It's a shame, though, that Daniel Ricciardo is probably going to lose his seat at McLaren. And yet, Sir Lancelot is still going to be tooling around on a Formula One track in an Aston Martin that Daddy paid for.
Lance Stroll is honestly a reason why I wouldn't want to drive for Aston Martin. Because everything else on paper for Aston Martin has got potential. Like the people working for them, the facilities, the money, blah, 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 blah. But Lance Stroll being on that team brings that down so much, in my opinion. If I was a driver looking for another... Like, if I was Pierre Gasly, I would be nervous about going to Aston Martin. Because as much as you're going to be, you know, in everyone else's mind, the number one driver, you're not the number one driver to the owner.
Yeah.
The number one driver to the owner is his son. You know what I mean? And his son sucks and's got no consequences.
You're the guy there to develop the car so that the son looks good.
Yeah, and he adds nothing to it. So he'll get all the upgrades
the fact
first.
That fucking Sebastian Vettel, four-time world champion, couldn't develop a car good enough to make Lance Stroll look good.
Yeah.
Or himself.
But I mean, look at the car in general.
It's a shitbox.
I mean, it's nicked design elements from the Red Bull.
Hasn't helped it.
No, because the rest of the car is someone else's car. If you take... Yeah, that's like taking the front end from a fucking X-Trail and sticking it on the body of a Mustang.
Yeah, they're probably not designing, like, their cars. They're probably not... I mean, it's been proven in recent history. They're not designing cars from front to back on their own. They're, like, taking parts of other cars and sort of gluing it together and, you know,
that's
putting it out.
That's the way Haas was doing it.
You know what it reminds me of? The episode of Top Gear where they had to make their own limousines. Their stretch limousines. And James May made the Alfarb.
The Alfarb.
That's what the Aston Martin reminds me of. The Alfarb. It was an Alfa Romeo and a Saab, and he welded them together.
Yeah.
He could drive from either end.
Yes.
That's what the Aston Martin is. It's an Alfarb.
It is.
Gosh, that was the
Really.
glory days of
And
Top
then
Gear, wasn't it?
Certainly was.
Yeah. You know, and the stretch limo that Clarkson made that was like 300 feet long.
And broke in the middle.
Broke in the middle. That's Mick Schumacher's Haas.
Breaks in the middle. Apparently that's a design feature on F1 cars, but the only cars I've seen split in half in the last 3 years have both been Haas's. So I don't know what chewing gum and paper clips they're using to hold that fucker together. But
Can they afford them?
They must be all they can afford because I guess chewing gum melts after a certain temperature and paper clips aren't as strong as
Office Works.
Office. We need to go to the news agents for some chewing. They're like taking bubble gum out of the whiny machine. It's like, quick, chew this. So
Ace Ventura's big pile of bubble gum.
All the mechanics are just chewing and spitting gum into a pile. Quick.
Held together with chewing gum. I think it was a Rugrats. It must have been a Rugrats episode. It was like the guys going downstairs to fix the power box. It's like, it's okay. Most of this power box is held together by chewing gum and paper clips. That's the Haas. It's okay. Most of the assembly was just chewing gum and paper clips.
So Ace Ventura, when he's driving Dan Marino to the game, and Dan Marino's like, "This is really great chewing gum," and Ace Ventura's like, "I'll advise you to stay out of my personal affairs, Dan." And it's the chewing gum that he's been chewing, like just sticks of it for a couple of days, and he's made a big ball out of it. It just makes me gross. Yeah.
Shit.
Right. So we got through the rant.
We did.
We got through the results. We got through the news. Now it's time for the driver's standings. JB, go.
All right, 2022 driver standings after the Monaco Grand Prix. Championship leader is Max Verstappen at Red Bull, 125 points. Second is Charles Leclerc at Ferrari, 116 points. Third is Sergio Perez at Red Bull, 110 points. Fourth is George Russell at Mercedes, 84 points. Fifth is Carlos Sainz at Ferrari, 83 points. Sixth is Lewis Hamilton at Mercedes, 50 points. Seventh is Lando Norris at McLaren, 48 points. Eighth is Valtteri Bottas at Alfa Romeo, 40 points. Ninth is Esteban Ocon at Alpine on 30 points. And 10th is Kevin Magnussen at the Haas on 15 points.
There's 15 points separating Verstappen to Perez.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And there's 1 point separating Sainz from Russell. I think Russell's going to be dropping down to 5th.
Eventually, yeah.
And 2 points separating Norris from Hamilton.
And only 10.
Kevin Magnussen
I
is
think
at
Norris.
15
I
points.
think Norris is going to pass Hamilton. I think Sainz is going to pass Russell. But the top three, that's juggling.
Kevin Magnussen has had 15 points for fucking ever. Since
I
about
know. I don't know how someone else
Australia, I
hasn't
think.
overtaken him.
And he's still in the top 10, which means every driver outside of the top 10 has 15 points or less.
I would have thought Alonso had more than 15 by now.
Or fucking Daniel Ricciardo.
No,
I mean,
Daniel
no,
Ricciardo's
not
only had
the-
1 points finish.
yeah, I know. I mean, like, for shit, yeah, but I mean, expectation.
Oh, yeah, expectation-wise,
He
yeah.
should have had more. Fernando
Like,
Alonso,
Mick,
yeah.
Mick
absolutely.
Schumacher should have had more.
Yeah,
Mick
I'm just
Schumacher
surprised.
should have had points by now.
Like, Kevin Magnussen literally had 15 points since about Australia
Yeah.
and hasn't moved since and is still in the top 10,
Yeah.
which shows there are fucking
Some
11
bad bottom
drivers. There are 11 drivers on this grid that are fucking shit house.
Yeah.
You say they're the 20 best drivers in the world, but 11 of them.
I mean, if we went
Fucking
through...
dog shit.
Let's go through the grid then, right? All 20 drivers. Who do you think... We'll start from the top. I mean, read off this list. I guess all this list we don't have. Verstappen, Leclerc, Perez, Russell, Sainz, Hamilton, Norris, Bottas, Ocon, Magnussen at this point all should be Formula 1 drivers.
Yeah.
So let's go through the bottom 10 from that then.
Well, actually, would you sorry to cut you off on your point. So this list we've got up, which will go up on the screen for the YouTube people, has the top 10. I might be helpful if I rattle off
Yeah. Go
everyone else. So 11th in the driver's standings is Daniel Ricciardo with 11 points. Tied with him on 11 points is Yuki Tsunoda.
Right.
13th is Fernando Alonso with 10 points.
He's only got 10 points all year.
Yep.
It seems
Did he
like he's
come-
driven a hell of a lot better than
Yeah.
that.
I mean, he comes 7th in this race, didn't he? What's 7th? 6 points?
3 points?
3 is it?
No,
3
4.
4 points?
4 points.
4 points.
Are you telling me he's only got... Okay.
Yeah.
I thought
14th is Pierre Gasly with 6 points.
We're talking up how good of a driver he is, and he's fucking got 6 points all year.
Yeah.
Well,
Yuki Tsunoda's beating him.
he's only got 1 point ahead of Sebastian Vettel.
And we're fucking counting him out
Yeah.
at the end of the year.
And then 16th is Albon with 3 points. 17th is Sir Lancelot with 2 points. 18th with 1 point is Zhou Guanyu. And then the final 3 drivers all tied on 19th with no points are Mick Schumacher, Hulkenberg and Latifi.
Latifi's the new Mazepin.
Latifi's got
21
as
out
many
of 20
points
drivers
as, Latifi's got as many points as Hulkenberg, who raced like once.
who raced once. Hungover.
Yeah, drunk.
Yeah, he raced it drunk. Jesus Christ, not even in shape. Just jumped in the car. There, how'd that go? Oh, better than Latifi.
Yeah, there's a lot of surprises a long way down that fucking list. Pierre Gasly especially.
So if we go through that bottom 10 then, let's pick who we think should be Formula 1 drivers going into next year. Daniel Ricciardo.
He will struggle.
Let's just say seats aren't an option, as in, because a lot of our speculation comes down to what seats open up, etc.
So,
just on how he's driving at the moment, merit, experience, etc.
I don't think Daniel Ricciardo should be there.
Me neither.
I think, and this really for me started when he moved to Renault. Like
He drove to right for Renault.
He drove all right for Renault, but for the money you're paying, you're not paying for a clown. And he spends too much time clowning around, wearing his 10-gallon hat when he's in Texas and playing it up and being all smiles and happy and shit. For how much is he getting paid? $15 million a year
Yeah.
For $15 million a year, I don't want a clown. I want a guy who wants points. I want a guy who wants wins.
He's probably getting paid more than Lando Norris. And Lando Norris is doing it.
way
Yeah.
more than Lando Norris. Way more.
Yeah. I'd be giving half my pay to Lando Norris and saying, you deserve it more than me.
Yeah.
He does at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, at the moment, Norris seems to, no matter what's going on, he seems to at least pull in like, he'll have a nothing race and still finish 6th.
Yeah.
Daniel Ricciardo can't struggling to make Q3, and if he does, he drops back to 13th.
Yeah.
Well, he's
When Norris might
he's
finish-
struggling to make it to Q2 on most of the time.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, how are you doing that with your like? I don't understand what's going on there. Like, is the car really that badly not set up the way you like it, or have you lost a touch?
And I mean, he's tied for points with Yuki Tsunoda.
Yeah.
Like,
Yuki
he's
Tsunoda
in one of the top 4 teams.
Yeah.
In the comp.
He should have at least 40 points.
Yeah.
He should be Bottas.
Yeah.
That's the car he has right now.
Oh, look, he should be Ocon at least.
That's what I mean.
least.
Absolute minimum. He should be. I mean, he should be beating Norris, right? So he should really have around 50 points. But at an absolute minimum, with things going wrong and all the rest of it, he should have at least have, like you said, between Ocon and Bottas.
He should have more than 15, which is what fucking Magnussen has.
Yeah, 100%. So there you go. So what about you, JB?
Yeah, I think his days are numbered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Alright.
3 no's. So there's a seat to open up.
All right.
Yuki Tsunoda.
He's going to have one more year. But
Yeah.
only one.
Oh yeah, he gets it. To me, he gets a 1-year extension. He's
Yeah.
shown enough this year to prove that allow him more time to keep developing.
But
Yeah.
he said, I'm only going to give him 12 more months.
Yeah, well, 100%. Like that's what you would give him at this point, and
Yeah.
he deserves that. So yeah, so Yuki Tsunoda's
He can stay.
yeah, he's got the talent.
Fernando Alonso.
12 more months.
Yeah, here's the thing:
He's still
Alonso's
playing
driving like an absolute should be top like Formula One driver, but when you calculate the age thing, that's when you get different about it. But
Yeah, but we just sat here and we're fucking surprised that he doesn't have more points than he does. Because that's how
True.
well he's driving.
it's true.
So he gets one more year.
Okay, yeah, yep,
All right.
Yep.
Pierre Gasly.
he does, but not off. Again, I mean, this is what it comes down to. It does come down to your last couple of years. His last year was excellent. This year hasn't been great.
He's good enough.
But yeah, that's right. His last year showed how good he is. So yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I think he deserves to stay.
Yep.
Sebastian Vettel.
No.
No, I think it's time.
I think it's time to call it. He's actually these last few races. He's starting to show that he's Vettel again. But I think it is time for him to retire. So
Yeah.
I would just say no.
No, it's time for old Yeller.
Yeah.
Alex Albon.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, but
yeah.
he gets a stay of execution because he's only just come back into the sport.
Yeah, but he's come back in the sport in the worst team on the grid and actually shown he can drive.
Yeah.
Well, he's
And
got
he actually showed a little bit at Red Bull. He got unlucky a few times, and he was a really young driver. So I Gasly gets shit for his Red Bull tenure, and it's probably deserved it to some degree. Albon, to me, I don't think deserves his shit for his Red Bull tenure.
Remember, he got taken out by Lewis Hamilton
Twice with
Yeah.
podium finishes. So,
yeah,
and I think he's absolutely showed in Williams that he deserves to be in a Formula One car. So
yeah,
he's a
yeah.
yes.
He gets a stay of execution.
Lance Stroll. I think we know the answer to this one.
If we could take Daddy's fucking credit card off him, he wouldn't be in Formula One.
Lance
Oh,
Stroll
look.
shouldn't even be in Formula 3.
Well, look, I think Daddy should take his T-Bird away, to be honest. All right. So that's a uniform no.
Yes,
Yeah.
straight in.
If we could scrap him, we would.
Zhou Guan Yu.
It's his
Yeah.
first year.
Yes. I think
Yes.
he's shown enough when his car's actually made it to the end that he deserves another year.
Mick Schumacher. I'm going to say yes.
I will say yes because of his performance last year, but if this was his rookie year, it'd be a big flat no right now.
I will say yes, purely based on potential, but I want to see it very soon.
He
Yeah.
at least is a Formula 2 winner, so to me that gives you a bit of pedigree because you've won a championship. So yes.
Yeah, I think his uncle needs to have a little bit of influence on him.
Also like Mick's attitude. I think he's got the right attitude. He's just not putting it together right now. But give him time.
And I said Aston Martin would be a sidestep, but I do think he needs a better car. I think he would be a great fit at McLaren, replacing Ricciardo. I think he'd be a great fit at Mercedes, replacing Hamilton. He'd be a great fit anywhere other than Aston Martin and Haas.
Put a car under him that he can at least improve in.
Yeah.
But he's got that this year. And he's not shown it.
Well, the next guy is Nico Hulkenberg.
No.
No, he's a fucking Reggie driver anyway.
Yeah.
He's already out of the sport.
Yeah. He's had his shot. He had his time. Time for him to jog on. And finally, I think I pretty well know what the answer to this one is. Nicholas Latifi.
Let me think.
21st
No.
20 drivers.
Sure. Nah,
Done.
done.
Should have been done last year.
He should have been. Yeah, he shouldn't have been given an extra year, but he did. So yeah, there's quite a few seats if we just go off our interpretation, like what we think. There's what, 3 or 4 seats, 5 seats
Yeah.
we just opened up.
Yeah.
So interesting next year.
And Longhorn, while you're here, you can do the team standings.
Hey, alrighty. So at the top we have Red Bull Racing with 235 points. Coming in second we have Ferrari with 199 points. In third we have Mercedes AMG with 134 points. In fourth we have McLaren with 59 points. In fifth, Alfa Romeo with 41 points. Coming in sixth, Alpine with 40 points. In seventh, AlphaTauri with 17 points. In eighth, Haas with 15 points. In ninth, Aston Martin with 7 points. And the current wooden spooners, Williams, with 3 points.
So I've got the results, the team standings from the last race in front of me, where Red Bull had 195 points, Ferrari had 169, Mercedes had 120, McLaren had 50, Alfa Romeo had 39, Alpine had 34, AlphaTauri had 17, Haas had 15, Aston Martin had 6, and Williams had 3. Alpine's closed up the gap to Alfa Romeo.
Yeah. Considerably.
Here's the only thing.
And Red
I think
Bull's
Alfa
extended the
Romeo's problem is the rookie driver right now. Because that 41 points is all Bottas to Ocon and Alonso, who are actually driving pretty well. But if, let's say Alfa Romeo had Gasly and Bottas, would they be where McLaren is right now?
Possibly.
I think there's the potential they would be the fourth. The way McLaren is at the moment without Ricciardo being in the fight, I think if you gave Gasly and Bottas the go at Alfa Romeo, I think they could be around McLaren right now.
If,
Look,
if Ricciardo was in the fight, McLaren would be a fuckload closer to Mercedes.
That's the thing.
That's
like,
true. That's true.
If you had a Mick Schumacher, or maybe Mick Schumacher's not a great example. Let's say a Pierre Gasly in Ricciardo's seat at McLaren. I think McLaren are ahead of Mercedes.
I think they'd have 100 points.
They'd be closer to Mercedes.
Yeah.
But you also got to factor in, if McLaren's points go up, Mercedes' points go down as part of the aggregate.
Yeah.
So
They would be
becomes-
closer. I don't know if they'd be ahead,
Yeah,
but they'd be close.
yeah.
Because, fucking Lando Norris is literally dragging the fucking chain right now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's pulling that team on his back by himself because Danny Rick's doing no favours in qualifying and
that
can't do fuck all in the race.
that brings me back to why I think getting like a Colton Herta or a Pato Award into McLaren is not the greatest option. Why they'd be better off getting a Piastri or getting a Pierre Gasly.
I'm already sold on Gasly.
Yeah,
I'm 100%
because
sold on Gasly.
if you get a Pierre Gasly, you've got a guy who's already got Formula One experience who has to plug into their detail. And because he's not as old as Daniel Ricciardo. I'm not trying to say that Ricciardo's an old fogey, but he's still got youth on his side where he can adapt, and it's easier to adapt. I think that, and if Pierre Gasly is in that team, he's got the drive to want to sit there and say, Helmut Marko in particular, fuck you very much. I'm going to show you how good I am.
Yeah, he's young and he's talented and he's fast and he'd have a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
So
he'd
he'd be
out
very
there trying
driven.
to prove shit every weekend.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't be coming in with the pedigree Ricciardo did, where he'd be coming in going, you're even with like right now Lando's a number one guy.
Daniel Ricciardo was coming in supposing to be better than Lando.
That's what I'm saying. Ricciardo was coming as their number one big signing.
Yeah, you're a race winner. You're supposed to teach Lando shit. And here we are, 2 years into your contract. Lando's owning you and teaching you shit. That's not how it was supposed to work.
Ricciardo it was meant to be his redemption. It was meant to be his Red Bull redemption. Okay, I'm going to show Red Bull how I really am, because he went to a Renault team that just didn't have it. McLaren was meant to have it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, to be fair, McLaren hasn't given the best car, put out the greatest car, but Lando Norris is getting out of that car more than the car's offering, and Ricciardo is not getting what is possible in that car to any degree.
Lando's pulling sixth on a bad day.
Yeah, he's got a podium this year.
And fucking Daniel Ricciardo can't pull sixth on a good day.
Norris is consistent. That's his thing. He consistently pulls it out the car.
Yeah.
Ricciardo pulled it out once when he won which is the ironic thing, where he won
Monza.
It was Monza. Yeah, he won Monza last year. It's the ironic thing, he's won their only race for however many years, but is struggling to even get inside the points on a week-to-week basis.
If I'm honest, and I'm not trying to downplay it or anything, but if you're honest, Ricciardo wouldn't have won that race if Hamilton and Verstappen hadn't crashed into each other. I mean, I know that's a what if. It's a
the
speculative.
McLarens were ahead of both of them when that pit stop ended.
I will give him that in that one. I actually do think Ricciardo would have won that race off the way I don't think they would have actually.
We were ahead of them on merit.
He actually raced like the Ricciardo we
knew.
The point you need to make, and the point I already made, was if Lando Norris had won Sochi, this is a vastly different conversation.
Yeah.
Because that Monza win is literally all Daniel Ricciardo has to hang his hat on.
Yeah.
And if he had won at Sochi, it would have made that win at Monza completely redundant.
Instantly fucking irrelevant.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now Ricciardo wouldn't have had a leg to stand on.
Now Ricciardo would be fucking... These talks would have started before the season had even fucking started.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
Instead of fucking 6 months into the season.
Yep.
So... Yeah, his one saving grace could have easily been... I mean, it's taken longer purely because Lando didn't win that race. It's taken longer for Ricciardo's saving grace to fucking fall, but had Lando won that race, he wouldn't have had a leg to stand on coming into the season, so he's running on borrowed time, eh? The ice is very thin.
Yeah, he's leaving a lot of money on the table.
Touche.
Sorry, I had to stick that one in there. All right, so that's the Monaco wrap-up and a few news items and a few opinion pieces and a rant.
It's a very full episode.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, good one. Yeah.
So we're going to be back in 2 weeks. Hopefully it'll be myself, JB, Longhorn, and returning Barry Enchilada, who's also away on assignment this week.
Clean that house, motherfucker. They're coming for you.
Yeah, we're coming over to inspect the inspection, all right?
Yeah.
So,
and sorry, Barry, if you come back, you have to go back to the back. You can't sit with us.
yeah. But,
Your kids ride the back of the bus, though,
but
mate. Don't be discouraged.
We might see next episode the return of Longhorn Speaks.
If we see another formation lap like we did this week, then, yeah, you will.
Well, it is Azerbaijan.
Yeah.
Next race is Baku.
Something's going to happen, let's hope.
And we might also see the return of Barry's segment, Should It Stay or Should It Go?
Very intriguing segment. Okay.
It was a good one. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Obviously, I was a listener last week, and yeah, it was good. Looking forward to working with it.
Yeah, it's a fun little segment, and we're glad that it's on board, and we hope everyone who listens to this podcast enjoyed it too, as well as enjoying this episode and all the other episodes.
Don't forget to follow us.
Yes, that's right. If you're listening to us on Spotify, the F1 chat, thank you very much. Follow, pass it on, you know the drill. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the bell, subscribe. Comment if you want. I'd love to see some comments. Call me a dickhead. Give us some construct.
Well, actually,
ask us some questions.
I have it set so that if anyone calls us a dickhead, it doesn't get put up.
So that's why we have no comments. Turn that shit off.
We'd have so many comments right now.
Turn that shit off. I want to.
Is that why my comments haven't been posting?
Don't forget to follow us also at Twitter because I've taken over that page by myself.
You're doing an
because
excellent job,
I don't
JB.
know how the Twitter works.
At the F1 Chat 1 on Twitter.
On the Twitter.
I don't know why the
Twitter
extra,
sphere. Hello, Twitter world.
we are the number one F1 chat, so that's why there's the extra one in there. I've put up my race notes as of this morning, as of this evening actually, up there because I started last night and then I fell asleep. So it was live and now it's delayed. Your Aussie broadcasters fell asleep.
So yeah, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, and pass us around.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, get involved with some comments. I'd love to hear if anyone's got anything they'd want us to go through on the podcast. Ask away. We'd love some questions.
Yeah, like send us comments and messages on the Twitter page. The YouTube. Hopefully, Phil will disable the filter and just let them be. Let them be.
Let the comments
Let
flow.
them be.
I do have it as set to pretty lenient though.
Rate and subscribe us on fucking Spotify. That's how it works.
That helps heaps. If you give us a good review, that helps. Following us helps. Downloading helps. I've checked the stats. We're coming up to almost 100 downloads. In total, not one episode. In total, so we're
That's awesome.
that's amazing, man.
That's awesome,
so
man.
cool. That's so cool.
You hear that, Joe Rogan? We're coming for you, Negro.
If anyone's, all our international listeners, I don't know if we've checked the list lately, but there's people in America and that guy from Belgium.
Oh man, it's awesome.
We have a listener from Belgium.
We have a listener from Belgium.
Oh, my grandmother was from Belgium.
Yeah, she was from.
Yeah, she's a Leclerc, isn't she?
She's a Leclerc.
No.
Didn't we go through this?
No. My mum's father's family originated from
France.
French Canada.
Yep.
French Canada.
My dad's mum was from Belgium.
Right.
So yeah, she because her family was
Shout out to
Flemish.
Belgium. If you get out to Spa, man, Spa's my dream track. I want to go there one day.
Spa and Monza.
Yeah. So have we got any Italians out there listening or Americans? I know there's some people from America that are listening.
Yeah, a couple Americans.
Spread us around like you guys. That's awesome. Like
we appreciate it so much.
3 dudes sitting in a room would be heard from people in other countries.
Yeah.
So spread it around. If you've got F1 friends, get out there. And anyone, all our mates. I know we've got mates here in Australia that listen that aren't massive F1 fans, but I know they share us around a fair bit. So
which we appreciate.
We've actually had a couple of new subscribers. Kylie, who, because I play in a band every couple of weekends, and Kylie, who jumps up and sings with us sometimes. She's a subscriber. She added us on Saturday night. She knows nothing about F1, nothing about pro wrestling, but because she knows me, she added a subscription to us.
Yeah, everyone needs some help with insomnia from time to time, so happy to do our bit,
Yeah, I love that. Every time you put a new one up and your mum's like, I need something to fall asleep with.
Yeah, shout out to Mum and shout out to everyone that, all the family and friends, like I said, they aren't massive for it. Seems to be a running theme, Formula One's a very niche market, seemingly in Australia, but, those people at least get on board and then share it around, and then people who are in the niche market of being Formula One fans, I hope they discover it, and I hope it grows organically from there.
Yeah, I hope we can offer you something a bit different from every usual F1 channel you go through is very proper, very Sky Sports.
Very British.
Very British.
Very fucking
I hope we
British.
can offer something a little bit different that some other people can enjoy.
Because we say cunt and Damon Hill can't say cunt.
No, so...
You just got us demonetised.
We're getting paid.
No. No, we're not getting paid because we don't have sponsorship.
Which is no aim at all. None of our aim is... We just do this because we love this, but if there's people that can actually enjoy this and engage back with us, that would be mean.
That's the dream, man. That's the dream. We want to start a community,
yeah.
I kind of want to address something before we close. A lot of people actually say to me, "Oh, you should do some editing on these podcasts and cut out the little things like coughs and ticks and stuff like that."
Yes.
We're never well enough.
We're
We're always sick.
We're a sickly bunch here.
I'd be there for hours, days even, editing it out. But between this one and our sister podcast on YouTube called Stop the Damn Match, the wrestling one, the general consensus or the general idea was we wanted it to sound like it was 3 guys sitting in my dungeon talking about F1 like other people would talk about F1 or talk about NRL or V8 supercars or I don't know, fucking synchronized swimming, whatever. That's the feel we're going for. Is that
Yeah, a
we want
podcast. This is a conversation. This isn't a fucking news interview.
this isn't Joe Rogan.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't think Joe Rogan edits that much.
Yeah.
you know?
We don't even really plan a lot. We just go for it.
We don't plan
you know?
fucking anything.
You know, we plan.
I write down race notes
Yeah.
during the race and read them out.
Yeah.
And then Phil writes down notes what he wants to talk about, and then we've got the standings and the stuff from F1.com.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all planning that goes into this show. So, it's very bare bones. It's very.
But it's also, we want it to be organic. We
Yeah.
want it to be
Yeah.
organic.
This is us.
This is us.
And it to be real and not chopped up like a PewDiePie video where it's like fast editing, where it comes across like an amateur Michael Bay movie.
Yeah.
We want it to be real and authentic, warts and all.
Yeah, we're not going to
You know.
cut out. It's explicit every week because the potential is one of us will swear because that's who we are, and we're not going to be the type of podcast that goes, "Oh, boys,"
Because
we
it's
can't
the
be swearing."
environment we're in.
Yeah,
like,
this
we're
is
just
us,
three
and-
mates just talking shit.
And because we're passionate about these things.
yeah.
And we hope you are too. And yeah, like I said, if you're listening, pass it on, get involved. We want to build a community. That's the hope out of this. So
Yeah, we love you guys.
We love you all.
Fucking honoured to hear that we're almost at 100 downloads. Honoured to hear
Yeah.
that there's people in other countries that are listening to this.
we might be close. Last time I looked was before we put Spain, as I put Spain up, and we were at 75. So we might be close. Might be close. And if we get 100, man, that's us three are probably going to have a mini celebration. That's awesome. 100 people.
I
Just-
might have a beer.
Ooh.
I
That's
might.
big.
An alcoholic beer.
Yes.
That's big. That's big.
That's massive, everyone. Now let's get it to 1,000. Wonder what we could get Phil to do if we get it to 1,000.
We'll get him like
Put it in the comments what you want Phil to do when we get to 1,000.
yard glassing vodka in the back.
Butt chugging.
I don't know. I've got 1 out of a 4-pack of lemon ruskies still in my fridge.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Blow the dust off that bad.
Hey, I mean, a few weeks ago, I went to the pub and saw my old friend Mel, and had a beer because I was celebrating. I paid off my loan,
Nice.
and
Well
I,
done, mate.
I chugged a 4X Gold,
Oh wow,
Ooh.
that's
the way to do it.
spirit.
and she's sitting there going, "I've never seen you chug a beer before."
I've seen you chug a beer once. It was very good. So, 100 subscribers.
We're all chugging a 4X
We're all
gold,
chugging
everyone.
a 4X gold. Jesus, we're going down that path. You could have picked a better beer, but all right.
No,
Yeah,
we've
we
done
could
it.
have picked a verse one too, aka VB. Yeah.
Noted.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you the new subscribers. Thank you everyone who listens on Spotify, YouTube.
At the F1 Chat 1.
Talk to us on Twitter. Buy us stuff on Amazon. Sell us your newborn child. Sell us a kidney. Whatever you want. But ring the bell, subscribe, download the show.
Rate, comment, fucking tell us we're shit.
Call us a dickhead because we're going to allow it now in the comments.
Yes.
Yeah. Rock and roll.
But overall, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you in 2 weeks for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix from Baku. But until then, on behalf of JB, Longhorn, and the on assignment Barry Enchilada, it is goodbye.